Here in Engaruka, a village in northern Tanzania, hardly anyone has a TV. That's why Linda Malimbo brings a small mobile cinema with her. She was here a few months ago on behalf of the LEAD Foundation, a Tanzanian conservation organization.
I want to show a film about Kirisia here today. Kirisia means living tree stump. We will start with announcements in the village, and later in the evening we will show the film.
But where is everyone? It's still early afternoon, and the villagers are in the fields, digging in the bone-dry earth. Holes in the earth as far as the eye can see. It seems like all 7,000 residents are out and about. What's going on? They're digging here because of another movie presented by Linda Malimbo and the LEAD Foundation. It was called Justdiggit. John Mune remembers it well as he digs a trench and fills it with grass seed.
The film taught me that you can do something about the dryness and drought of recent years. We can till the land and create water basins, which we fill with seeds to help the fields recover.
In recent years, fields here have continued to fall victim to desertification. The persistent drought is a consequence of climate change. Can anyone really fight back? It's 5 p.m. and Linda Malimbo's colleague makes an announcement that the film screening is taking place that evening. It's a welcome change for the villagers. They only get to see a film every few months. The children are excited to see what's coming. Now the final touches. Linda Malimbo has been doing this for 3 years.
The film explains how to protect your land from drought. People have cut down their trees many times in recent years. The land became barren, and the harvests got worse. Now we want to show people how to reclaim that moisture so that their yields increase and they have enough pasture to feed their families.
The last few months have seen 30% less precipitation than in previous years, which is one reason why they're digging the rain basins. According to the campaign, there are now over 200,000 such basins in Tanzania and Kenya. And all this just because people saw a movie. In reality, people here earn €1.50 per basin. Diligent workers like Dina Hosea can manage 5 a day.
We make money digging now. Later, when the grass is grown, it will benefit both our cattle and us because we save ourselves the trouble of carrying food to the cattle. If we employ these practices, they will help us take care of our livestock.
Rainwater normally evaporates on the dry soil, but now it can collect in the basins. This gives the water more time to seep into the soil, and this allows vegetation to grow not only inside the basins, but also all around them. This regreening program is in full swing and gaining in popularity. Strategies like this one have an impact on the global climate and could even help to slow down global warming. And the people of Engaruka are doing their part.
Vultures are possibly one of the most majestic and awe-inspiring creatures who are often misunderstood. They are poorly associated with nefarious activities when actually they probably do mankind one of the biggest favors on earth. They feed on carcasses, helping to keep the environment clean. thereby likely preventing disease from spreading. Vultures provide valuable services that we don't even have to pay for. They are the sanitation workers of the savannah. As sentinels of the skies, they warn authorities of poaching activities. They save the lives of so many animals, even the elephants that tower over them. They are perhaps the most misunderstood birds of our continent.
They're like a sanitation crew. They clean up the wild, and they do it so efficiently that they can, digest pathogens, things like anthrax and tuberculosis, so they likely stop the spread of disease. So if they're not there, the carcass will stay in the environment longer. It will mean that disease can spread maybe quicker because it's in the environment for a longer period of time.
There is no simple solution to human-wildlife conflict. Farmers often poison predators which prey on their livestock, and scavengers, including vultures, feed off the dead animals and ingest the poison. Additionally, poachers actually lace their victims with poison meant to kill the vultures intentionally. Amazing statistic: 500 vultures can die from feeding off a dead elephant carcass laced with poison. So who do we turn to for help? Who understands and cares about the vultures? BirdLife International cooperates with all of those at the forefront of tackling Africa's vulture crisis, working with our network of partners across the continent.
We have 65 vulture volunteers across the landscape that help in increasing surveillance and also helping to report when they see incidents of poisoning, so then the necessary or the authority that is responsible is able to respond effectively.
Yes, and it's not just caring about vultures or birds or even animals. It's about caring for our communities, for the delicate balance of nature, for our future generations.
Tumeeneza hii mambo ya hiyo sumu ambayo ilikuwa imekuja kwa muda mfupi ikaua wanyama sana. Hiyo sumu watu tumeambia ni hatari, ilikuwa ni hatari kwa wanyama pia kwa maboma.
In East Africa, the main threats to vultures are poisoning, electrocution, and collisions with energy infrastructure. Already there have been signs of success, but there is more work to be done. In Southern Africa, the major threats to vultures are poisoning and belief-based use. Around 500,000 hectares of land in South Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe have been designated as vulture safe zones, or VSZs. Creating these safe zones means working with private landowners and farmers to use methods for managing their land that encourage vulture populations to survive and grow.
Vulture safe zones are mainly areas that are freed from harmful threats. So we ensure that an area is free of poisonous substances that could kill vultures, but also other indirect threats. We are spearheading the development of a national wildlife poisoning response protocol, which is basically a standardized method of responding to incidents of poisoning.
In West Africa, the primary threat to vultures is belief-based use. Many communities mistakenly believe vulture body parts have healing and magical powers. Thus, they use the vulture parts in traditional medicine. The Nigerian Conservation Foundation is carrying out a number of initiatives to tackle this threat. Working with traditional healers and institutions, NCF is developing a guide for traditional healers for plant-based alternatives to vulture parts. NCF is also working to raise awareness on importance of vultures in the ecosystem.
But for certain species like vultures, direct exploitation is really the major thing right now. And that is the hunting, the poaching of its eggs, the catching it by snares, shooting vultures, and so on, and mostly for ritual purposes.
To save the vultures, governments and local communities as well as other NGOs must be at the heart of conservation efforts.
Anything should not be poisoned, otherwise we will be poisoning everything. So we've really done so much that if the government come in and put some inputs to make sure they close any shop that is contributing any substances used to poison any other thing, the better. We will have achieved the best. Yes. So I say poisoning must stop, and we must stop even any chemical that can be used in any way, because it results to poisoning in the other way.
Further, BirdLife International is engaging governments in bringing attention and urgency to tightening regulations, banning toxic substances that poison wildlife, phasing out the use of lead ammunition, creating protected areas, positioning enforcement personnel, and prosecuting wildlife crimes. The Kenya Wildlife Act of 2013 was amended to make it a criminal offense to poison any wildlife. While some progress has been made, a lot still needs to be done. Vulture populations continue to decline. In 3 decades, West Africa has seen vulture numbers fall by 95% in unprotected areas. 7 out of the 11 vulture species are now at risk of extinction.
One of the values that we derived was people seeing that vultures are important. We've been able to see that poisoning by itself has reduced, but now having a vulture dead or having a jackal dead, people are reporting. And that is very important because people are appreciating and knowing that wildlife is important to them.
Our scavengers are beautiful, and they are more helpful than most of us realize. Let's conserve them as part of our ecosystem, and because we can, through our compassion and our action. Let us save Africa's vultures.
Peering up through the tree cover in northern Kenya's Kirisia Forest is a magical experience. For locals here, the forest provides most of their needs: drinking water, grazing areas for their animals, wood, and cover from the sun.
Tulikuwa tunaenda mbali kutafuta maji. Tulikuwa tunaenda karibu 5 kilometers kutafuta maji.
Until 2 years ago, however, this forest was disappearing at an alarming rate. The ground was dry. Local Samburu people went great distances looking for areas their cattle could eat, causing conflict with other tribes.
I think moving away just without force from the government out of forest, it is something unique in the whole world. So I think nobody forced us, and we just saw our problem. We saw that our animals are dying and without pasture. We are also losing life when we go to look pastures from our neighbors. So we've seen our problems, and we say the best way to solve this problem is to move out of the forest, and we take care of our forest so that our forest can take care of us back.
Realizing their fate was tied to the well-being of their forest, 10,000 families packed up and left. But really, it was local elders like 64-year-old George Lempei that made the hard decision to leave the home they had known for a generation.
Hali ya kiangazi ikaendelea kwa zaidi sana. Hiyo kitu ndio ilifanya sisi tuishi kwa forest. Alafu wakati ingine wasee wakaonelea tu, ai, tumeumia ya kutosha, na hata tukaona hali ya mvua hatupati, kwa sababu watu wameishi ndani ya forest kwa wingi na forest inaendelea kumalizika.
Almost a third of the 92 hectares of the forest had been destroyed by 2020. When the residents moved on, they immediately began a replanting program. To date, 80,000 new seedlings have taken root. 11,000 of the 30,000 bare hectares have been restored. The replanting has also become a lucrative business for the local women. Instead of burning trees for charcoal, these same women are nurturing new ones. They use some of their seedlings for restoring their own forest, and they sell others to the government for a profit.
Sasa hiyo mti yetu ya nasari tukipanda inatusaidia sisi kwa sababu tukiuza hizo miti zetu tunapata fedha. Sasa tunasomesha watoto wetu wa shule na kufanya hata biashara zingine kando na mambo na msitu.
This is not the only revenue stream that has started as a result of the migration from Kirisia. Beekeeping has also been established and has been a hit.
Mostly we get up to 1 ton, maybe in 2 months, or at least these are some of the benefits they are getting. Because before, they don't have these things. They only graze and that's it.
The FAO has supplied 150 beehives to start with. The operation has grown quickly from providing this community with about $1,000 a month from selling honey. The new enterprises have been satisfying, but the real benefit has been an environment where these traditional pastoralists can feed their cattle and find drinking water for themselves. Pamela Rose Runyenji has been one of the leaders of this FAO-sponsored project.
But really FAO supported the development of the forest management agreement, and this is a very important instrument because it would legally provide the space for the community themselves really to manage the forest through the Community Forest Association. So bringing them together was really the main issue, and of course making sure that they really understand that they could really harness better the potential of the resources if they come together.
The current drought could have destroyed their ability to making a living. But restoring the forest has brought back water, tree cover, and peace to the area.
So after we move out of the forest, we voluntarily move out of the forest, we find some very unique things happening in this forest. Because one is like this water now. We find this dam now is full of water, and the level of water now is going even up to our homes there.
And many hope this will serve as an example to other forest communities. The Kirisia Forest Association has even received an award from the FAO for their remarkable courage in leaving the forest and their industry in bringing it back to life again. The forest has even seen some of its old residents return as it becomes once again a natural palace for all who need its bountiful resources for sustenance, shelter, and peace.
Farmers in Kenya continue to face a challenge when it comes to exporting their produce to European Union countries. This is because of the high residues of pesticide in their horticultural products. Crops that don't meet EU requirements are rejected, leading to losses. Ironically, most of the sprays are manufactured by European firms but not allowed at home. This exposes the multi-million euro horticultural export market to great losses.
And we identified 8 toxic pesticides that are in about 200 products in Kenya that are banned even in Europe because of their challenges. Some of them lead to cancer, infertility issues, issues of challenges which lead to challenges like Alzheimer's because of nerve damage. And we have been calling on the government of Kenya to withdraw the toxic pesticides.
In 2019 alone, the country exported horticultural products worth 1.1 billion euros. Key export products include highly perishable flowers, vegetables and fruit. In a move to avoid export rejections, as well as appeal to calls for healthy eating at home, some companies have intensified the production of biopesticides, which are safer for humans and the environment. Real IPM works with the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, ICIP, in manufacturing and commercializing approved bioproducts.
Because of the restriction on the market, because of the residue levels, we've been able to advise the growers to integrate our methods, which means we are trying to use other friendly means to manage the pests. We've been able to use insect as well as biopesticides. So we have reduced their spray programs from maybe from 7 days in a week, because they do every day on daily basis. We've managed to reduce their spray program to maybe 50%.
Most of their customers are flower farmers who have already adopted a biopesticides program. Local demand for safer foods has also led to the expansion of organic farming. Sylvia Kuria owns a farm near Nairobi where she grows a variety of vegetables. She says that the initial investment could be more expensive than conventional farming, but that it makes sense long term.
We never have one pest in excess because there are always predators. We didn't kill the predators who are there to actually come and kill the pests. So when you have that kind of a balance, you find that your inputs are lower. So you're not spending as much having to spray.
By shifting more towards safer farming and improving access to organic products, Kenyan farmers hope that they'll be able to ensure the lucrative export trade to Europe continues to flourish.
The standard gauge railway in Kenya is the most expensive infrastructural project the country has done since independence. The debate on whether the $3.6 billion project is worth its money and impact is heated, with economists and environmentalists pulling at both ends. Leonard Tonui is the principal engineer at the Kenya Railway Service.
Those containers are able to arrive in Nairobi within a day. Usually not more than 10 hours they are in Nairobi. That saves them time and also other related costs.
The SGR has replaced over 1,500 trucks so far and transported over 2.5 million passengers since completion.
I've heard of that notion that the train business, basically SGR, has killed the trucking business. But one fact that we should know that is that the train can only, in its full capacity, can only transport 40% of the cargo which is arriving at the port of Mombasa. So there is still more business. It's just a matter of the road transport businesses and the truckers becoming more innovative and engaging that business. And one key important thing to note is the SGR and basically the train cannot engage in last mile connectivity. For the last mile connectivity to happen, the road together with the train have to complement each other.
Ndugu yangu, SGR ilituharibia kazi.
SGR has really messed our jobs. At the moment, it carries 200 containers, translating to 200 truck drivers losing their jobs.
Ni madereva 200 wamekosa kazi.
Trip ni moja peke yake.
Trip is only once. I really don't know if I will get a cargo. Back in the days, there was always cargo on standby, but now I will have to wait maybe a week, 2 weeks before I get cargo. Life is really hard. We are thinking of traveling abroad to work there.
Maisha imekuwa ngumu sana, hata tunafikiria kutoka nchi twende ugaibuni kufanya kazi.
According to the Transport Sector Climate Change Report of 2020, Kenya emits 11.25 metric ton carbon dioxide against an emission target of 3.46 metric ton carbon dioxide by 2030. The World Health Organization says automobile pollution causes at least 5,000 deaths per year in Kenya. Truckers have a different opinion on SGR reducing carbon emissions.
On pollution, I disagree, because whether it is at night or day, emission is the same. SGR has not helped in reducing pollution. What it has done is to create unemployment.
SGR is a green transport, it's low carbon, with much less greenhouse gases. It has reduced the number of vehicles on the road itself, and that is again adding to more reduction of greenhouse gases.
The railway has halved the time spent traveling from Mombasa to Nairobi from 8 hours by road to 4 hours. This has helped boost local tourism to the coastal city. Mash Poa Bus Company has been in operation for more than 2 decades. Farouk Sahid is a transport manager and has been with the company for years.
The impact is too high. As we can see now, we used to have about 3-4 buses a day. Now we are just sending about 2 buses. Compared to the transport sector, SGR, they are sending almost those cabins, about 13-14 cabins, which consist of about, let's say, 1,000 passengers. So these small interstate stopovers, they've cost us a lot also with the SGR.
While the SGR has negatively impacted on some businesses, it has brought growth to some towns along the line. Voi Town is a major stopover for tourists heading to Tsavo East and to Tsavo West National Parks, and home to the remaining tuskers in the world. Mohanjit is a tourism expert with Game Watchers. To him, SGR has been a game changer in the tourism industry.
And now with the SGR, as tourism players, we're actually very happy to have it. It's something that has really opened up domestic tourism. We've seen a lot of especially at the coast, that are doing extremely well from it. It offers a very efficient service, a very affordable service, clean and with good standards. So it's very important to the tourism industry.
Richard Mola is the founder of Tsavo Trust. They operate within Tsavo East and West. Richard works hand in hand with Kenya Wildlife Service to protect the big tuskers. These are elephants with tusks touching the ground.
When you see a dead elephant and you think its face has been hacked off just to cut out those teeth, those tusks, for what?
So I totally agree, because as a country we must develop, but as we develop, let's have a sustainable development whereby we develop with conservation in mind.
This water has been channeled through this tunnel, and now it goes down, and you have seen now it has developed a lot of bigger deep gullies along these individual chambers. So there is a very big negative impact on those sides, because the land has been degraded. People are now losing their land because of those deep gullies. The accessibility of their livestock sorry, and even them themselves is very much becoming a problem.
The SGR passes through game reserves and parks in Kenya. Vegetation clearance, noise and air pollution has had a significant impact on the flora and fauna. Here in Tsavo, they had to construct underpasses for animal crossings. Controversially, The railway line passed through the Nairobi National Park, encroaching 87.29 hectares of the park. The habitat is an important breeding center for critically endangered black rhinos. Tobias is an environment expert who has been studying impact of major developments along the parks.
The construction of the SGR and the adjoining roads then have got wide-ranging impacts on both the species as well as the habitats that they need to use within those conservation areas. So for example, in the Voi area where it bisects the Savo East and Savo West, what it has done is to impede the movement of wildlife between the two areas. With specific reference to the Nairobi National Park, we are seeing a situation where wildlife is migrating back into community areas. They then engage in human-wildlife conflict. So where some of these landscapes have been disturbed, particularly to get soil for the SGR, but also, when soil is brought in, it comes in with some plant species that are not native to these areas. So we are losing critical habitat for wildlife who then cannot make use of this plant that has emerged.
What the Chinese want is business. And they want to capture as much business in Africa as possible. And they want to make sure that they do trade with us, they give us loans to build our roads, our railways, to develop our water supplies, to develop our hydropower and so on, to make us sustainable in terms of infrastructure. Once you develop infrastructure, then you are on the path to develop.
The railway project is a major transport corridor to Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda and the DRC Congo. It costs an average of $1,200 to transport via the SGR as compared to $850 by road. With just a few years of SGR traversing through Kenya and years shy to 2030 carbon emission target, the country stands to gain much with the environmental friendly mode of transport and brighter future to the young generation.